Figure out who you are. Figure out what you want. Ignore the mist and focus on your own personal mission of what you want. Hello, hustlers, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small business owners, everybody out there trying to turn an idea into income. I want to welcome you to Serious Business, because it's serious, but it's not all that serious. Welcome to your weekly spot to get everything you need to know about making your business more profitable, but also having a lot more fun while doing it, because if this ain't fun, you shouldn't be doing it. Hey there, everybody. We're back with Serious Business, and I am here with the most serious person I know, my partner in crime in business, Melonie Orr.
Hello, hello.
So you probably aren't going to be listening to this right after this experience, but we just got back from vacation.
We did.
And it was so much fun. But I was talking to a client earlier today talking about vacations with children versus vacations without children.
Okay.
And a vacation with a child isn't really a vacation.
It's a different experience. It's like a different life experience.
This isn't our topic today, but it is going to actually weave into our topic.
Great.
It is. Because a vacation with a child is more like disciplining just in a different geographic location.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you know, when you've got a kid with you, you got to focus on them and make sure that they're having a good time. And the whole thing kind of becomes about them as opposed to, you know, I think we're older parents, as most people know. Older. And we've spent a good amount of our life kind of doing vacations and doing it our way, which is to unplug and reset. And you don't get to do that with the kid. And I've been reticent about leaving my child, but the older I get and the older he gets, I should say, the more I'm like, I need to unplug from him so I can reset.
It's not even about needing to unplug and reset. It's about trying not to die.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 3 years old, and on the way to Maine, we went to Thomas the Train Park. And if you ride rides with a 3-year-old, essentially you sit on a
tiny piece of machinery
that goes in a circle. Quickly.
Most of them in a circle.
Jerkingly.
Yeah.
After ride 3, what did I look at you and tell you?
She said, I need a ginger ale. I need you to find me a ginger ale really fast.
Almost puked. So here's today's topic, and this is Serious Business, is about your life and your business. And I don't mean it in a generic way. What I want to chat about today is, what kind of business do you build? We live in this incredible entrepreneurial time where truly anyone can build a business. I don't think everybody should build a business, but you can. You do have the resources. You can build online businesses. You can, you can use social media to get the word out. You can, just like I did with the $500 on a Capital One credit card, you can go out and start a business. It's exactly how I did it.
Yeah.
But there is this manufactured entrepreneurial mist that's been sprayed into the
entrepreneurial mist. Okay, go on.
That has been sprayed into the atmosphere now that says, like, you gotta be a driven, hustling, business building, do it big kind of thing. We did that for a long time. We did that for, I don't know, I'd probably say 5-6 years of the business. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And I was, there were times when the business was doubling and tripling in revenue every year, sometimes every quarter. And it worked for me then. The business was kind of my baby, and I loved it, and it was my life. And now I have a totally different feeling about that. I have a totally different feeling about what kind of business I want. And it's funny, just coming back from vacation, it lends itself a lot to that because, I used to work my ass off for, 3 months, and then you and I would go on a vacation for a week and totally unplug. And then I used to come back and, crush it on something for a couple of months, and we'd go on safari, or we'd go to the Bahamas, or we'd go wherever. And my life just doesn't look like that anymore because I do have a kid, and maybe I'm older too, and just old. I don't know. But my life just, I don't want to be full on pushing and then retreating.
Well, wait, I want to stop you. I want to stop you right here because I hear what you're saying and I feel like I know where you're going, but I do think I want to say this because we do get a lot of people who are like, I just don't want my life being full of pushing and hustle and drive. And I get that, but I also know that you can't say you want a certain level of life, you want a certain level of business, and you're not willing to do the work. So I think for a limited amount of time, you have to be willing to do the fucking work.
Well, I say all the time, you have to be willing to live a few years of your life like most people can't, so you can live the rest of your life like, no, I said that totally wrong. You have to live your life like most people won't, so you can live the rest of your life like most people can't.
And so what happens is, I think people hear you say this because I think that the tempo of our business has changed. The priorities of the business have changed. And they hear it and they go, oh, cool. I don't want to work either. I just, I need my time. And I agree. I think you do. But then you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say, but I also want a $6 million business. It doesn't happen magically. It's not a magical thing. So before we kind of go down this route of where you're going about setting up your lifestyle and stuff, you also have to be really realistic about what kind of business you can build. Because
and what you want. What do you want to get out of it? Because you're going to get out of it exactly what you put into it. That's without a doubt. But I don't say this from an entitled place, but I'll say...
I'll be the judge of that.
Exactly. Almost 11th year in business, like rolling into my 11th year in business.
No. You're going into your 12th year of business. You're in your 12th year because you started your business.
My 11th.
You started your business in 2007. And
I had no idea.
Yeah. And its current incarnation, 2008, but you left your job 10 years ago.
Left my job. So 12 this
years.
year in business. I've earned the right. Right? I mean, and you can't say that every day. You can't go, I've earned the right to do nothing because, then you will have a business that is nothing. But after what I've put in for 12 years, hopefully I have some systems and some people and some processes that I can step away. But the bigger conversation I wanted to have here, and I think it's great to preface it with saying, don't get the wrong idea in what we're about to talk about, in that you do nothing and you will get a lot out of it. You've got whatever you put in is exactly what you'll get out. But there is this entrepreneurial mist that's being sprayed all over that is making people kind of go into this. But first of all, everybody thinks they should be an entrepreneur, which I actually think is completely ass backwards. And that, I got to be this doubling, tripling, whatever it is. And what I wanted to talk about today is like, how do you decide what your business should be? How do you decide what you want your business to be? Are you a bad business owner if you stay at the same level for 5 straight years? Are you a great business owner if you're doubling or tripling every year? Are you a lousy business owner if you build a certain level business and now it's at a different level? And it could say the same, right? For, are you an untalented artist if you have a hit record, but your next record isn't a hit? Or are you a lazy artist if you put out one great album and you only put out an album every, 5-6 years instead of every year? So how do you decide right? How do you decide what you want and what you want it to look like?
And how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean...
Well, and I'm saying this because some people are at a turning point, right? They're just like, I'm sick of doing it this way. I need to make a change, or I'm not sure what I want it to look like. So what do you think is the best way to do that?
Well, I think you decide, do I want to be a lifestyle business or do I want to be and these are my terms.
Yeah, what do you mean by lifestyle business?
I'll explain it one second. Do you want to be a corporate business or do you want to be a lifestyle business? I think a lifestyle business is a business that every decision is based on how it affects your life, how it enhances, how it challenges, how it informs, how it affects your life.
Okay.
I think a corporate style business is a business in which the focus is the business, is the economic health and growth of the business, and every decision that is made is based on how it affects the business, not how it affects you. And I will say that I started off as a lifestyle business and I definitely moved into a corporate business.
Yeah.
And now I actually think I have a little bit of a hybrid.
Yeah, I was going to say. I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, for a long time, I was corporate. At the height of us growing, I was in a corporate style business.
Yeah. It wasn't really about how it affected you personally.
Right.
Well, and when you don't have kiddos, you can make some of the choices that,
Sure.
you make.
And of course, there's people with kids who have a corporate based business.
Sure.
And there's people without kids who have a lifestyle based business. So I think it starts with saying, what do I want? And I, in the beginning, wanted to leave my day job. So I was really like, oh, I'm in a lifestyle business. I just want to replace my income. And then I loved the game of business and I got into it and I wanted to grow and I wanted to expand and I wanted a big team. And so I went down the corporate model and that worked really, really well for me. And in many ways, it still works for me today, but I am not as into a large super growth mode as I was, as much as I am into the concept of how do I want this to affect my family and my life and how do I want it to shape me, right? Or shape my family. So anyway, I really think the question is, what is it that you want? And you've got to, and I think the essence is how much do you know about yourself? Who are you? Who do you want to be? Because knowing that is really key. I got a client right now who just hates managing people. And she cannot choose the corporate model because she doesn't want to deal with having team or managing a bunch of people. And so she's like, even though I think I could build that and go that route, I don't want to. And so I'm really focused on having, kind of one virtual assistant. Then I've got, clients of mine who are just like me. They're building out physical office spaces and they've got tons of team and, their growth is focused that way. So I think the message here is know what you want, know who you are, and don't get caught up. I mean, now this is funny because I'm a marketer. Don't get caught up in the marketing trap of what your business has to be, right? I would also say if you're listening to this and you're thinking about going into business, don't get caught up in the trap that you should be a business owner.
No, for real. It's not easy. And a lot of people do that. Now, one of the things I was going to say about, deciding who you are and what you want, some people don't know. You have no idea. And so the other thing I think it's important to tell people and encourage them is don't think you have to know. Choose a model, choose a structure, and go with it. The only way that you figure things out is by doing them. So if you're going to be virtual or you want an in-person team or whatever it is, you have to decide and just go with it. And sometimes you get in the middle of it and you go, okay, this does not work for me. We simply forget, and I'm preaching to the choir here because I forget this all the time. And I think one of our greatest teachers was a man named David Nagel who taught me a lot about choice. We forget that life is full of choices. You just make one decision and it's not permanent. These aren't tattoos. I mean, even tattoos aren't permanent necessarily anymore. You can morph them into something else or you can get them lasered off.
Tattoos feel so permanent though. You know how I feel about a tattoo.
I can't. Yeah.
I mean, I'd love for you to write in if you are like myself and the commitment, the level, and I'm a committed person, but my office has a lot of tattoos. So we have a lot of conversations about this and I'm worried for them because I see like some of them have gotten like gorgeous, like some type of flower or some type of something. And you just know in 20 years that flower is going to be wilted.
Yeah.
Some
of them have made some bad choices, but we don't need to go into that right now. But
I'm afraid of tattoos.
I don't. Yeah. I love some tattoos because people have
beautiful.
Made some commitments
they're
to
gorgeous.
some beautiful things, but there's unfortunately
it's
more bad choices.
It's an art form, but
so like a tattoo.
How many of you want to keep the same sofa the rest of your life?
You don't. So business is never the same. Business is an evolution. Life is an evolution. So if you think that what you start out today, if you think that what Suzanne Evans started out the business as 12 years ago is exactly what it is today, you are very mistaken. It has morphed into a million things. She has tinkered in a million different things.
Expanded and contracted and contracted and expanded.
The core of it, the core values have always been there, but it is morphed through the years. It evolves, it changes, it moves on, it elevates. That's just life. So don't get obsessed with not starting something because you don't know what you want. You you can't figure out what you want until you do it. You can't decide if you like vanilla pudding, which by the way, I'm really craving vanilla pudding. I don't know where that came from,
so
but
weird.
you can't, decide if you like vanilla pudding if you've never had
What
vanilla
kind of
pudding.
Like a homemade on the stove, the vanilla pudding?
No, not like homemade, not like out of a box homemade.
Maybe
but
we
like
should change the name of this to distracted business, because we
yeah.
can literally only hold a train of thought for like
ADD.
4 minutes.
I mean, we've hit tattoos, we've hit children on vacation, and now puddings and maybe an egg custard. Maybe I'm more in a custard mood. But anyway, you don't know it until you try it, guys. So you have to just do something, make a choice, and then stick with it for a while. And that's why, we always tell people to get coaches and people who are consultants who have done this longer and better than you have, because they can tell you.
Let's talk about revenue for a second, because, people get obsessed like, oh, if I'm not growing every year, am I being successful in business? But think about somebody, I'm not talking about somebody who has a high paying job, right? Let's say you make a few $100,000 a year in corporate. Probably, unless you decide to become the highest level you can in that company, you could spend a good 20 years of your life somewhere between 250 and 300,000 in revenue. And nobody goes, oh my gosh, you're not growing, right? It's what you chose to do, and you've created a lifestyle around that amount of revenue. So really what I want people to think about is, how much do I want to work? And that's a real question, because your output will be equivalent to your input, right? And so how much do I want to work? And I have people come to me all the time and say, I want a $10 million business and I want to work 10 hours a week. It's never going to happen. And any jackass who has a podcast out there or who's a coach or consultant and they want to come and they want to tell us that you can do that, it's 1 in a million with special circumstances and situations. And most likely
it happens. But people also win the lottery, y'all.
Yeah.
Come on. That is not a life plan.
It's not logical.
No.
But I could make $1 million a year now and probably work 10 hours a week. Because of the team I have. And that would be cutting my revenue down
and the brand
by
equity and
5 times, because I make a lot more than $1 million a year now. But I could go, I could figure out how to make $1 million a year and maybe just have a couple of assistants and do it. But that's because of what I've done for the last 12 years. So figure out how much you want to work. So here's a few things to think about. How much do you want to work? What type of work environment do you want? Do you want to manage a lot of people? Do you want to be in a physical space versus a virtual space? Do you want to have to, we are constantly hiring and firing. You have to with a team of 20 people. It's a revolving door, and we obviously have amazing people. I've only had employees. I've been in business, like I said, for about 12 years. I've only had employees for about eight or nine, besides some part-time people. And in that 8 or 9 years, we've got people that have been with us for 6 years, 5 years, so we've got people that have been with us a long time, but we also have a lot. There's always a position open. There's always a position to fill. Yeah. So how do you want to manage people? Then where do you want to be geographically? So do you take clients or customers in person? Do you want to own? I thought this was pretty cool, actually. We were in Maine and we went to Holy Donuts. Did you see this article?
Yeah, that she's now moving
to Hawaii.
But they said she's not even been there for years now.
Because she has a system in place. But I guarantee she was tossing donuts for years, right? And it's a great place. It's in Portland, Maine. It's called Holy Donuts, and it's a potato donut. And I highly recommend, shout out to Holy Donuts in Portland, Maine, get the dark chocolate and sea salt.
Yeah, that was pretty yummy.
But anyway, point is, now she's moving to Hawaii and her business is in Portland, Maine, because she has a leadership team that's running it. But that's not going to be your first few years in business.
No.
So how do you want to geographically work? Do you want to have the freedom to travel anywhere you want to at any time? Or are you good to go, I'm going to show up to this location every day? So think about that. Then think about what is your comfortability with risk? Because the larger you grow a business, the larger the risk. So if you grow a business to $100,000 a year, you could be taking on some $10,000 risks. Well, if a $10,000 risk doesn't pay off, that could be devastating to you. But financially speaking, you can pick back up and get yourself together in a year or so, get that paid off and move on. The level that I'm currently at, risks are in the $500,000 range.
Right.
Risks are in the, they're enormous. So what is your stomach for risk? Think about that as well. And then the last thing I would say to think about, and this is from James Roche, who's my head coach. I love this philosophy he teaches, which is, what is my perfect average day? Not a vacation day, not a special dream day on my vision board, but what is a perfect average Thursday? Right? It's just another Thursday. What am I doing all day? Who am I doing it with? How am I spending it? Where am I spending it? What's my environment? What am I dealing with? What am I doing? And think how you want to spend your life that way. So big business, little business, micro business, macro business. It doesn't make a damn what the business level is. It makes a damn what you want in your life and in your life experience and how a business can support that. So when all that entrepreneurial mist is being sprayed all over you on Instagram, right? And you're getting caught up in I got to be better, I got to be bigger, I got to be this way, I got to be like this person, I got to follow this person. Stop and ask those questions that I just talked about earlier. Figure out who you are. Figure out what you want. Ignore the mist and focus on your own personal mission of what you want.
Preach.
That's
Preach.
it. That's it, folks. I am going to go get some egg custard
I know.
for Melonie.
I'm going to make some egg custard. No, it's got to be homemade.
Listen, this is serious business. And that's why we called it this, because you'll go to a conference or a seminar somewhere and they'll talk to you about what kind of business you would build. And you would think that you are removing, right, atoms from, a nuclear weapon. Really, it's building something you love and something you want. So it's all serious because your life is serious business, but it's not that serious. Go try something.
Atoms from a nuclear
I don't know what's in a nuclear bomb.
I realized you painted yourself into a corner with that analogy.
I don't know anything about nuclear bombs, and I think that's positive, actually. It's like I was telling somebody today, I said, you know me, I've never liked the online marketing side of all this stuff, funnels and stuff, because it's the math of business.
Yeah.
Right? And the same thing, science, I don't know. I don't know much about, I know what I know.
We got the point. We felt the
right
the
into us. Right
it.
into help@driveninc.com and explain nuclear weapons to me. I certainly don't get it. All right, guys, this is serious business. We'll see you on the next podcast. Go decide what kind of business you want. There's no wrong answer. It's just what's right for you. Thank you so much for listening to this week's podcast, Serious Business. Please follow us on Instagram at The Driven Inc. and make sure to check us out on Facebook at Driven Inc. as well. Subscribe to this podcast. You don't want to miss a single episode, and tell a friend, because good friends share good stuff. See you next week.